Hi my dear learners, I am here again with you with one more video. This video is also based on John Keats's John Keats's poem Ode to a Nightingale. In this video, I'm just going to discuss all the literary devices used in the poem one by one. So let us look at the first literary device used in the poem. See this very particular line. This is the third line of the poem. Or emptied some dull opiate to the drains. So see, this is the third line of the poem, and this third line of the poem ends without any punctuation mark at the end. So if the line of a poem ends without any punctuation mark, this is called enjambment. enjambment. So this third line of the poem is a good example of enjambment. Now see this next line of the poem. That thou light wing dried of the trees. That begins with T, thou begins with T, and then again the begins with T. So here we find the sound of T letter just at the beginning of three words in this line. So here we have alliteration. alliteration, alliteration. Now see the next line of the poem, just next line of the poem. In some melodious plot. Here we see in some sound of O, then melodious sound of O, then in plot sound of O. O, that is vowel. So if we find the repetition of the same vowel sound, it is called assonance. assonance. So here there is assonance. Now let's see the next line of the poem and see the other literary device or figure of speech used in the poem. Now see this line, where palsy shakes a few sad last grey hairs, and the next line, where youth grows pale and spectre green and dies, where but to think is to be full of sorrow and leaden eye despair. Where? So here we have seen 1, 2, 3, 4 lines beginning with the word where. So if we find such lines beginning with the same word or beginning with the same phrase, this is called anaphora. anaphora, anaphora. So here anaphora is also used in this poem. Why? Because there are 3 lines, one after the other, beginning with the same word, that is where, and then again one more line begins with the same word where. So this is anaphora. Again and again emphasis is here, just emphasis here placed, and that's why this word is 4 times used, particularly to begin the consecutive lines of the poem. So this is anaphora. Now let's see the next figure of speech used in this poem. See poem, this line, this again, just where beauty cannot keep her lustrous eyes. See, where beauty cannot keep her lustrous eyes. How is beauty treated here? As if it is not a kind of a abstract thing, but as if it is a living thing, a living being. So here beauty is treated as a living being. It means if a lifeless object an abstract object, something. If a lifeless object or something is treated as a living one, is attributed human life, that is called personification. Personi, personification, Fication. So here there is personification. Why? Because your beauty is treated as a living one. Now let's see the next figure of speech used in the poem. See this very particular line that is very famous and very popular line of the poem. See, thou wast not born for death, immortal bird, no hungry generation trade thee down. So in the first video that I gave you on this poem, I had made mention of this very particular line, and I told you that this line is a very good example of tautology. Tautology, tautology, or pleonasm, pleonasm. If a certain word or phrase is unnecessarily repeated in the line, it is called pleonasm. Like here you see first, this line is the example of pleonasm. See this, thou wast not born for death, immortal bird. So if I say, the poet says that this bird is not born for death, its literal meaning is that the bird is immortal. The bird will never die means the bird is immortal. So what is the use of the repetition of the use of this word immortal? So here the word immortal is unnecessarily used. So this is the example of tautology or pleonasm. In the same line, see, there is another very important figure of speech you must be aware of, that is apostrophe. 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 In apostrophe, what happens? A dead or absent or abstract is addressed as if hearing, as if will get a kind of a response. So here he said, thou wast not born for death, immortal bird. So it seems as if here the speaker of the poem is straightway addressing his words or addressing this line to the bird. But that is absent. He can only hear the song of the bird. He cannot locate the exact location of the bird. So here in this very particular line, we have tautology and we have also apostrophe. Why? Because this line is straightway addressed, or in this line the poet straightway addresses his words to this bird, nightingale. Next line, see this. Forlorn, the very word is like a bell. So see here, forlorn and bell. Here forlorn and bell. These two things are compared with the help of the word like. So if we make this kind of a comparison using words like as, this is simile, simile. So this line is a very good example of simile. Now see the next line, or next literary devices used in this poem. See this line is also very important line. See this, full of the true blushful hippocrene with beaded bubbles winking at the brim, the beautiful and winking at the brim, winking at the brim, as if here these lines again we can say here there is a very good use of personification. That how And see, a very good line of, you can say, imagery, visual imagery. Try. We can we can imagine how do those bubbles who appear, how do those bubbles which appear on the top, which appear on the top of that glass full of some drink, and how do those bubble break or burst one after the other. So beautiful, just example of a kind of a visual imagery, that the bubbles are appearing on the top of the glass full of just that very particular drink, and one after the other they are bursting. And see here, one thing is very, very important. I would like to draw your attention, I would like to draw your kind attention to this very particular word, hypocrine. Hypocrine is the name of a sacred fountain. Sacred. S-A-C-R-E-D. Sacred, holy. Hypocrine is the name of a sacred fountain mentioned in the Greek mythology. This fountain was sacred. Why? Because it was very dear to the 8 muses. Those muses who were supposed to help and aid and assist a struggling poet. So maybe you can say that John Keats was also was trying to entertain or delight, or just admire or appreciate these muses to get a kind of a poetic inspiration. So hypocrine means a sacred fountain, found on the hill Helicon. This sacred fountain came into existence because of the strong stamping of the foot or the hoof of a winged horse named Pegasus. Remember this. That is very important reference straightway taken from the Greek mythology or mythology. It is all because of that. P.B. Shelley, Keats's contemporary, had well called John Keats a Greek. Why? Because if you read the poems of John Keats, you will find multiple references and allusions straightway taken from the Greek mythology. I hope this explanation of mine relating to all the figures of speech used in the poem, I think that all those figures of speeches that I have here explained it to you will help you have a better understanding of this poem. Thank you for watching this video of mine, my dear learners and my dear friends. Once again, thanks for watching my video, and I will make a personal appeal to all of you to subscribe my channel, give your love and support to my channel. Once again, thank you, my dear learners.